just keep talking about it, showing them film of it. Hopefully it'll carry over.
Hey, Reggie got like two real quick fouls, and you took him out pretty big, and they got another quick one. Obviously, he's a guy you need on the court for a fair amount of minutes. Kind of, what are you seeing from Reggie trying to clean that?
Yeah, I think with a lot of teams, like if you just look historically, the first week of the NBA season, there's a lot of fouls called. First week, 2 weeks of college basketball, it's the same thing, and then it kind of starts evening out as the players adjust to the refs, and the refs start, because there's always points of emphasis every year with the referees, and that takes a little bit of getting used to with the players. And but yeah, we gotta defend without fouling and defend without grabbing jerseys, and a lot of that too is, you go through 7 months of practice and you don't have a referee in the gym, and then all of a sudden you put 3 referees out there, and so it was an adjustment for our guys for sure.
Adrio didn't take a lot of shots. Pretty efficient. I think he was 2 of 2, 4 of 4. What you think of his game?
I thought Adrio played really well. He played within himself. He did exactly what we asked. He was really good on dribble handoffs. He was really good on throwing chases where he caught the ball at the top of the key and swung it to one of our guards, either the left wing or right wing, and chased that into a pick and roll. If he can play out on the floor and space the floor with his passing, his dribble handoffs, and his ability to dribble drive against maybe bigger, slower guys, that'll certainly make our offense flow a lot better.
What did you like about the chemistry you saw with some of the guys and the combinations you had on the floor with so many new pieces and finally being able to see it in the game?
Yeah, I thought that the first unit, just the first 5 minutes of the game and the first 5 minutes in the second half, I thought they were outstanding from a defensive intensity standpoint. Defensive pick and rolls, we did a great job of hard showing / trapping the ball handlers in pick and rolls. Middle of the game, we went to a little bit more switching because we wanted to try to kind of figure out which of those 3 pick and roll coverages worked best and where we could watch film and try to improve on. But I just thought that that first unit did such an incredible job of clicking on both sides of the ball. I thought they really, really executed offensively. We've added a lot of half-court sets, kind of specialty NBA-type sets that take about 12 to 15 seconds to kind of develop instead of a traditional college set, which takes sometimes 20 seconds or more to develop.
Welcome in. It's our A edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's our Friday edition. We like to do it each and every Friday to get you guys ready. And for kickoff, Arkansas will be traveling to Tuscaloosa, Alabama to take on the number 1 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. So we thought we'd start it off and make our way down to Tuscaloosa, where we get in touch with our good buddy of Touchdown Alabama, Stephen M. Smith. Steve, welcome back to the Hill, my man. Let's get off into a lot of game keys. You come in, Mac will be taking the first team reps at the starting quarterback on tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Talk about, have there been any adjustments offensively with this, with Tua being out?
Just kind of business.
Okay, are you still there, Stephen? Talk about what Alabama has to do offensively. I know, this could be a trap game, Stephen, with you guys having an open date heading into that big matchup that not only has been talked about in the SEC but around the country. Talk about this game offensively. What will Coach Saban and that staff try to get accomplished tomorrow night? Mm-hmm.
Too many attack is what Nick Saban to do.
Defensively, when you look at this Arkansas offense, is there anything when talking to Coach Saban and that defensive staff that concerns them tomorrow night? I know Rakeem Boyd had a big game versus this Alabama defense a year ago, being, I think, maybe one of only 2 running backs that went for over 100 yards. But what concerns Coach Saban about the Arkansas offense as far as the Crimson Tide defense is concerned?
Well, it's not just Boyd. Also remember Cheyenne O'Grady at tight end had a pretty good performance against Alabama last year. He got open. Making sure that they know where O'Grady is at all times. If he's coming across the middle, if he's going to the flat, if he's on a post pattern, just keeping their eyes on the tight end. So while, yes, Rakeem Boyd is a point of emphasis, also tight end Cheyenne O'Grady is one as well.
How are you guys there down in Alabama going into this game health-wise? I know, it's been one of those real injury-plagued, years, real uncharacteristic of an Alabama team. But how are things health-wise heading into tomorrow night's ball game?
The only player that will not make this matchup, aside from Tua Tagovailoa, is kicker Will Reichert, the freshman out of Hoover, Alabama, re-injured against Southern Miss on last week against Tennessee. So Nick Saban holding him out. As we all know, Tua Tagovailoa recovering from the ankle surgery he had. So those be the only 2. Everybody else is full go.
Now, I know you guys start, a lot of freshmen. Talk about Christian Harris. I mean, this has been a guy at the linebacker, Stephen, and we spoke about him several weeks ago here on OTH. Talk about his play, and, it's only going to get better as far as, you starting a couple of those true freshmen on the defensive line. How has Coach Saban, commented about the progression of those young men?
Well, he kind of equated it, Pat, to you taking advanced placement classes, and those AP classes in high school are not designed work. When you look at Christian Harris, he's somebody that has showed flashes throughout the year. He's got the potential to be really, really good among the team leaders and tackles. Just got to continue to work through his game, fine-tune his game, dissect where the play is going, get to the football, and just be a headhunter out there. For the most part, he's done well. Defensive coordinator Pete Golding has guided both Christian Harris and Shane Lee through this process, but both guys, in particular Christian Harris, continues to grow, and he's going to continue to get better just due to the experience. The game has slowed down for him.
Talking with Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama here. Covers all Alabama football for us here on OTH, our 8th segment. Got about a minute left, minute and a half, Stephen. I want you to give me your offensive player, your defensive player, and your final score. And tomorrow night's big SEC West matchup between the Arkansas Razorbacks and the Alabama Crimson Tide.
I think the offensive player of the game this week, I'm going to go Najee Harris, the running back. Going to be kind of raining in this game, so I think you'll have a big day on the ground. So Najee Harris offensively. Defensively, I got Terrell Lewis continuing to get that thing done as a pass rusher. Final score in this game, I like Alabama 42, Arkansas 10.
Well, my man, as always, you give it to us like nobody else. And could you tell the listeners one more time how they can catch your big podcast in my own words? Where can they catch that at?
They can catch that on YouTube. Touchdown Alabama Magazine on YouTube. Like and subscribe to the channel. It's In My Own Words, the podcast, as you mentioned, Pat. They can catch that on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and, of course, Saturdays. But we have a special feature dropping this evening. But In My Own Words, the podcast, it's right there. Touchdown Alabama Magazine on YouTube.
All right, my man. Enjoy the game. I'll be looking for a lot of your updates as the game goes on in tomorrow night's broadcast on the SEC Network. But as always, my brother, thanks for taking time out here on the Hill.
No problem. You guys take it easy.
All right. That was Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama giving us his 411 on things that he's going to be looking for in tomorrow night's matchup as the Arkansas Razorbacks be taking on the number 1 ranked Crimson Tide. But real quick, we caught up with head women's basketball coach Mike Neighbors as his ball club was able to win their opening exhibition game versus Pittsburgh State 97-63. We'll let you hear what Coach Neighbor has to say, and then we'll be talking much more Razorbacks with the Democrat Gazette, Scotty Borland. All that's up next. It's the A here on the Hill on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
Apropos way to start her year back after setting out for a year, and a funny. She made up for it by making 5 threes in the first half, so I think we can cut her some slack. But overall, exactly what we hoped to get out of this when we scheduled it. Pitt State is a tremendous team, and we wanted to be exposed in some areas, and we were. Give us some workable film. We got to play everybody on the roster, which we hoped to do. We certainly didn't know that would happen, but fortunately we shot the ball well enough. And I think, we only turned it over 7 times and scored 97. So our functionally fast was pretty good tonight. Yeah, listen.
Like welcome party, welcome back, and how she performed tonight. I know she was excited.
Yeah, it is so easy to get hyped up to be back, but it's so hard to go out and actually perform. And she's going to beat herself up for not making one in the second half or missing an open one, but that is so hard to do, to set out that long and be so anxious and then come out and do what she did. But, that's a kid that if you know her and you've watched her over the years, you're not shocked by it. She will dissect that film for everything critically before Coach Todd or I even get to her. So it's an awesome thing for her, and I was glad that she got that start after almost starting us out 0-2.
How did and why did you put Michaela in the starting lineup, and how do you think she did today in her first game?
Well, she's been unbelievable in preseason, and with Galden's injury, she's just a natural there. She's a natural leader. She's always been that every level she's ever played at. She came in one of the most freshman-ready kids I've ever had. She's got 2 outstanding parents who raised her tremendously, and she's adjusted to being a freshman very quickly. But, she obviously, you could tell by her play how steady she is. She's just real steady. And with the way the circumstances were, it was a lot of minutes for her tonight. I didn't anticipate playing her that many minutes, but we kind of had to.
Welcome back to our Friday edition. It's our A edition here on OTH on KDSJ 479, Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. And we'd like to get you guys ready for everything Razorbacks, as Arkansas will be traveling to Tuscaloosa, Alabama to take on the number 1 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. So we thought we'd talk with our good buddy to get some more of that Arkansas update, Scotty Borland of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Scotty, welcome back to OTH, my brother.
Appreciate you guys having me again. What's going on?
Nothing much at all. It's going to be a rainy one tomorrow night down in Tuscaloosa. But Scotty, in watching this football team, the availability that we get as much as we can see, what's been your take from the mood of this football team heading into tomorrow night 6 p.m. kickoff in Bryant-Denny?
One of the first guys that I talked to on Tuesday night during player availability was Monteric Brown. And, he was really complimentary of Mac Jones. He said that, I think it was probably a little bit of hyperbole, but he said that Mac Jones can do anything that Tua can. That's probably being a little bit generous, but, the coaches, too, have said that, Mac Jones is at Alabama for a reason. He's their backup. If Tua were to go down, he's the guy because he's a good quarterback. And I think we'll see that a little bit. His relief appearance the other night of Tua, I think he was like 6 of 11 for 72 yards. He didn't really do anything special, but he just kind of got him out of the game and into a position where they can prep a little bit more. So, I think Arkansas's defensive guys are obviously very aware of how explosive Alabama's offense can be even without Tua. They've got arguably the top receiving group in the country.
Good point.
And former Biletnikoff Award winner. Probably there's another Biletnikoff Award winner in that bunch too, if I had to guess. But, I think they understand that they have to go in and give everything they've got. That's what Buster said. They have to go in and give their all and just kind of let the chips fall where they may.
I know during the media availability, Ty Clary, a junior center, came in for Arkansas on I believe it was Tuesday night, and the question was asked, who's going to be the quarterback? And his response was, I don't even know half the time. I don't know who's behind me, which I thought was, kind of a telltale sign of the way the quarterback position has gone these previous 2 years. I mean, talk about that, Scotty. How much of this uncertainty week in and week out, if it's going to be Starkel, will it be Hicks, has really hampered what I consider to be a pretty, good group of offensive skill players and just the way this offense could have gone.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think about that probably every week, when Arkansas's offense isn't clicking. I'm like, what's the issue here? Because you've got arguably one of the best backs in the conference, a guy that's probably top 20 in the country in rushing. You got the best tight end in the conference,
right,
arguably top in the country. And then you've got some pretty talented receivers, Trey Knox, Traylon Burks, Mike Woods, and then some other guys like Tyson Morris has played a little bit and stepped up on occasion. But, yeah, I think it just kind of all goes back to offensive line play. They've got to give the quarterback
good point.
Ample time to stand in the pocket without feeling rushed and hurried and unsettled and survey the field. And then the quarterback position, even going back to the Kentucky game, Nick Starkel had plenty of time in the pocket, I thought, but even he was kind of just really off his game. He was, I think, 7 for 19 in that game. Like 41 yards wasn't good. So, I mean, I think a lot when this offense is, for lack of a better word, kind of constipated a little bit, like they get much going. When they do have weapons, I think it falls on offensive line play and quarterbacks. There's just been a lot of instability there. That's kind of been the theme with this coaching staff since they got here. You can't find a quarterback in practice and stick with them because they've been so inconsistent. And part of that comes down to also, receivers can probably do a better job getting open, not dropping passes. I think there were 3 drops last week when Ben Hicks was in the game, so they got to limit those. But yeah, I don't know that it's a mystery, but it's just something that they can't seem to solve. And I think if you get better quarterback play, I think you'll see an uptick in the offensive production.
Talking with Scotty Borland of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette here on OTH, covers all Razorback, men's and women's, or I should say all Razorback football and basketball. My next question to you, Scotty, would be, what's, in your humble opinion, the matchup that Arkansas has to win in tomorrow night's ball game to give themselves its best chance, if any, to pull off this stunning upset, which I don't see the window being too big, but if you had to pick one matchup, what would that matchup be?
I think coaches say all the time it's a line of scrimmage league, right? The SEC.
Right.
And, Alabama's offensive line, you don't really hear just a whole lot about them, and that's probably a pretty good place to be, because it means they're probably giving their quarterbacks, plenty of space in the pocket to get the ball to receivers. And I feel like if Arkansas can find some way to pressure Mac Jones and rattle him and get him off his spot, maybe get him a little bit off balance, I think they stand a chance. It's just, I'm afraid that, given Mac Jones is making his first start and, Alabama does have a great group of receivers and running backs, I just feel like the quick game is going to hurt Arkansas a lot. It's kind of like in the San Jose State game, but take it up several notches.
Right.
But if Arkansas's front four can find a way to get any kind of pressure on Mac Jones, I think that would be pretty big. And you just got to tackle well in space too. I think the defensive backs they really got their work cut out for them, because Alabama's receivers are speedy. They're really good with the ball in their hands in space, and Arkansas's DBs have to tackle well in space. So I know you asked for one, but those are the two biggest.
Talking with Scotty Borland of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. And also, too, before we continue, I want to give a shout-out to our sponsors, Lindsay & Associates, Locomotion, Corey Beck's Custom Painting, and KDK's Chicken for all their gracious sponsorship of OTH. I want to kick over to the basketball side of things, as you'll be at Bud Walton Arena tonight as the Arkansas men's basketball team under Eric Musselman will be making their second exhibition game versus the Southwestern Oklahoma Ball Club. Talk about what you'll be looking for in tonight's ball game there at Bud Walton as the Razorback men basketball take the court.
Yeah, I think you just want to see, I think Musselman was pretty complimentary of his starting group the other night. I think they outscored UALR 22-3 when they were on the floor together for about 7 minutes and 25 seconds the other night, which is really good. And I really liked how Jimmy Witt kind of headed that group. He was, he didn't score the ball just a ton, but he was great on the glass. Kind of had his fingerprints all over the offense, and he kind of spearheaded them on defense too, with deflections and playing passing lanes and whatnot. But you want to see kind of more of a surge from the second group. Mason Jones, Mason Jones and Reggie Chaney, I think, had pretty frustrating nights the other day.
Right.
Just as far as like fouls are concerned, and I went back to the box score, and all 3 of Mason Jones' turnovers were player control fouls. I think that's something he struggled with that a little bit last year.
Good point.
And it seems like it reared its head a little bit. Maybe even going back to the red-white game a few weeks back too. I think I remember a couple of player control fouls there, but he's just got to, play at his own pace, not play too fast, get ahead of himself. I think kind of the same thing with Reggie. And as far as the fouls go, I think Muss made a good point yesterday. There's an adjustment period that players have to go through when you transition from not having officials in practices the last however many months, and now you're in a game-like situation, and referees and officials have, their points of emphasis that are really on the forefront of their minds early on in the season. So that's going to take some getting used to. But I think they cut down on turnovers too. They had 18, and Muss said that 14 of them were unforced. I just think you want to see Arkansas be a little bit sharper with the ball and with their execution, and see if they can just absolutely run these guys out of the gym and kind of expedite getting to your season opener in about 11 days.
Right. Well, we got about 2.5 minutes left, Scotty, in this segment. But I want to get your offensive player for tomorrow night's ball game down in Tuscaloosa, your defensive player, and then lastly, give me your final score with Arkansas versus the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yeah, picking the offensive player of the game the last couple of weeks has been pretty tough, Pat.
Right.
I think Rakeem's got a chance to be one of the guys that actually puts up some numbers on Saturday. But I know that Alabama's going to be honed in on him since he ran for 100-plus last year and had a few catches out of the backfield. I might go with him. I think I wrote a story for our magazine this week that, Rakeem's really had a history of, kind of hitting his stride in October, almost regardless of who he plays. I know last week was tough with considering how good Auburn's front four was. But I figure he'll kind of have a bounce back game. I don't know if he'll hit 100 yards, but maybe find the end zone if Arkansas can punch through in the red zone. They've been struggling with that, and then defensively, I might go with Sosa or Scuda. I think Sosa is kind of understanding that his time's kind of running out, and he's got to make some impressions on some NFL scouts.
Good point.
And, this is a great opportunity for him to do that.
And final score?
In our magazine, I predicted 35-7 Alabama. I don't think Alabama's offense is going to be as explosive with Mac Jones at quarterback, but I figure they'll still lean pretty heavy on Najee Harris, and I'm sure Mac Jones will be able to find a way to get Jared Jeudy the ball. So I'll go 35-7.
All right, my man. Well, you enjoyed tonight's ball game coverage, and I'm pretty sure we'll catch up next week to recap this Alabama game and also look forward to the Razorback basketball season opener. But as always, thanks for taking time out here on OTA, Scotty.
Yeah, you bet. Enjoy that Fayetteville game tonight.
All right, bud. It's going to be a rainy one. That was Scotty Borland of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette with his skinny on just what he thinks is going to go on with the Alabama-Arkansas game that will take place on SEC Network tomorrow at 6 p.m. And also to Arkansas men will be having their second exhibition game tonight in Bud Walton Arena. All those, it's good insight from Scotty, but we also had a chance to catch up with two real important women's Razorbacks in Amber Ramirez and junior Chelsea Dungy, do everything. And off their 97-63 win, we caught up with, and we're going to let you hear what they had to say. And then next up, it's going to be the Pig Trail Nation and KNWA's Alyssa Orange with her skinny. We'll talk football and basketball. You don't want to miss it. It's the A on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
Welcome party for you today, able to go out there and play. What was it like to get out there and finally play after about, a year and a half?
It was definitely fun and exciting to be back on the court with my teammates. Last year was hard sitting out, but in practice we got to work, and we just got to work this year. And it was just fun getting on the court. I got to play with Chelsea again. It's been a while, so it was very fun.
You clearly were in rhythm with your three-point shooting. Just talk about how nice you felt being able to hit on those threes. Just confidence. My teammates, I missed the first couple, but they were still confident in me to still pass me the ball and told me to keep shooting the ball. So it was just my teammates helping me out with that. Chelsea, how do you feel the team played overall today for the first time out there against another opponent?
Yeah, I felt that we did good. There's some things that we were practicing on that we wanted to transition to the game, and we did that in execution, seeing where we are with our playbook, and we did well.
I know that they've rotated in a lot of the newcomers, and I know that they would start stage. What have you seen from her specifically and her role that she's kind of taken on leadership?
Yeah, coming in as a freshman, she's got a lot of confidence. It takes a lot of confidence, and I think the coaching staff's seen that, and that's the reason that she does start. She did a great job. She's got the ability to get to the basket, as we all seen, the ability to calm the floor down when needed and control it, and she's going to be a great player.
Chelsea, it looked like you saw Alexis put the ball on the floor a few more times than we did most games last year. That's something you just kind of worked on?
Can you say it one more time?
It looked like we saw Alexis kind of put the ball on the floor a few more times than we would usually last year.
Yeah. She wanted to add to her game with her being a senior. She wanted to add to it, and it's definitely coming around. The ability to get to the basket and her shooting ability is going to make her tough guard.
And then just from your perspective, just what's the difference having Amber out there?
Welcome back. It's our A edition here on the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you each and every day here on KDSJ 479 from 1 to 2 p.m. And real quick, want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Lindsay and Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. Locomotion is located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. Corey Beck's Custom Painting. If you need residential, commercial, whatever you need, contact Corey Beck. And lastly, KDK's Chicken. It's at 989 Razorback Road. Go down and see Keith and Kathy and get you a plate of that love. And like they say, it's not your mama's. The best chicken and waffles in the South. But we're going to continue on with our Razorback discussion, and we're going to make a way. She's in the car. She's heading to Tuscaloosa, but you know she's going to bring us to 411. We're going to reach out to our good buddy of the KNWA and Pig Trail Nation, Alyssa Orange. AO, welcome back to OTH.
Hey, thanks for calling. I got to tell you, if you hear any ruckus, it's these rowdy four gentlemen that I'm stuck in the car with on an 8-hour drive. So forgive them. They're fighting over Kit Kat. So.
Let's get off into it. Arkansas coming off yet another disappointing loss at home versus Auburn last Saturday in Dollar W Reynolds. From what you've been able to observe heading into tomorrow night's kickoff, what's been the temperament, in your opinion, of this Razorback football team heading to Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, well, can you ask me about, like, in Mississippi. So if you are Arkansas, if you're in Arkansas, and now you got to face the number one team in the country, and the players are going to look at the challenge as an opportunity. But I know that fans are looking at next. It's not going to happen this week. Win is a win coming. You got to look ahead. You just got to go down to Alabama. I think a win for this team is you come out of Tuscaloosa injury-free. Don't get anybody hurt heading into that Mississippi.
When is it, Alyssa, do you start playing some of the guys? I mean, you and I were on the field Saturday toward the latter part of that game, and we heard the KJ Jefferson chants from most fans down in that lower bowl. When is it, if you're Chad, that you just start playing? You have 52 underclassmen. You start getting these guys some game reps. Is it next week versus Mississippi State, or where are you at with that?
should have started a few weeks ago.
I think we had a momentarily drop of the call. Alyssa will. She's in traveling, so it was. She's back. Can you hear us, Alyssa?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. I know you're traveling, so that's it's radio at its rawest. So continue on.
Played him a while ago, and some fans have argued, oh, you don't want to ruin his red shirt or save it for the last 4 games. Well, the problem with that is you can play him 4 games without losing a red shirt first off, and it's any 4 games, not just the last 4 or the first 4. And then if you think about it, if you're sitting here saying, okay, well, KJ, we'll play you the last 4 games, what happens in those last 4 games where they're competitive and you're trying to win? You're not going to put KJ Jefferson out in that situation when you're trying to win a ball game.
Great point.
And then if you save those last games and he doesn't play, then he doesn't play at all. So why not let him play in a game like Auburn, like you did with Connor Nolan and John Stephen Jones a year ago, even if it's just to hand the ball off to Rakeem Boyd or, to maybe do a designated quarterback draw. Just let him do something to get in the game and have some experience. And it's been really head-scratching as to why that hasn't happened. Not just for KJ, but some other guys like Jalen Catalon and some of these young guys that, you got to rotate and build some experience. And why that's not happening is really hard to understand.
Well, I know something happened last night, and it was really, really something I think all Razorback women basketball fans were excited to see with this new version of the 2019-2020 Razorbacks. You got a chance to witness last night's ball game, 97-63 win over Pittsburgh State. Talk about this women's basketball team and what can these fans of this program expect to see throughout this season, in your opinion?
Yeah, Pat, first off, it's exciting to talk about something positive, right? A team that looking at them looks really good to where they were a year ago, picking up where they left off at the end of the season. What we saw last night was the debut of Amber Ramirez. She was a transfer in from TCU, had to sit out last year, and if you're at any women's game, you noticed her. She was always jumping up and down.
Right.
A lot of attitude and swagger to her, and so it was fun to watch her on the court. Funny moment, I'm sure she might have mentioned it, but got the tip and took it the wrong way on accident. She was just ready to get going, but she made up for that. Hit 5 threes in the first half and was really on fire. It was really good to see what she could bring to the table. Chelsea Dungy was Chelsea Dungy. She from the get-go. It was really good to see freshman Michaela Daniels get the start. She's out of Frederick, Maryland, and I really like her. They like her a lot and are hoping to have her as a part of this team, especially right now with Atiana Golden out with an injury. They don't know how long IT is going to be out, so Michaela could be that point guard for Arkansas after Malika Monk left, but I was just really impressed. Now, obviously, there were some times where I thought maybe they got a little sloppy and felt a little rushed. Maybe a little bit. They were up by 30, so they kind of almost took the foot off the pedal a little bit, got a little sloppy, but then they were able to kind of reel themselves back in. I think this is a team to watch, and I'm really excited to see what the women do this year.
When you look at this team depth-wise, is this a team, Alyssa, under Coach Neighbors in year 3 that could make a pretty serious run in the SEC, in the SEC and the NCAA tournament? In your opinion, I got them Sweet 16 possibility. Is that something that you see if this team can continue to progress on?
I really think so, and I think if he continues, he being Mike Neighbors, get some of those younger girls that he's brought in. Erin Barnum is not a young girl; she sat out, but she's another addition to this team that could really be beneficial. And Mike Neighbors always jokes with us like, I don't rotate a lot. I'm not going to be a 10-person rotation. But we did see a lot of those younger freshmen play yesterday, and so maybe he might play a little bit more to build some of that depth so that, you've got some of those people. You've got Taylor Thomas and Kiera Williams down low, and then you bring in Destiny, and hopefully she can add a little bit of relief for both Kayla and Kiara. So I really think that they've got the pieces in place now in Mike Neighbors' third year to make a run.
Now, Arkansas is taking on the number one ranked Alabama Crimson Tide tomorrow night at Bryant-Denny. And we got a couple minutes left. I want you to give me your offensive player, Alyssa, your defensive player, and the final score when all is said and done. Alabama versus Arkansas.
Well, my offensive player of the game, excuse me, is going to be Trey Knox. And really because we have seen him play as a freshman, but not as a freshman. He is a freshman. He's not playing like one. This is a really big test for him, and I want to see how he handles the pressure, the light, the atmosphere of Bryant-Denny Stadium at homecoming. So really excited to see how Trey Knox performs in that kind of environment. He's going to be my offensive player. My defensive guy is a guy I went to last week, and Sosa Akeem. Got me a sack last week, and I'd like to see him try to at least have some kind of effects up there on the defensive line. However, it is Alabama. It is the number one team in the country, and I have it a 49-10 victory for Alabama.
Well, we always like having you on here, AO, and you guys have a safe trip. Tell Jason and all those guys, don't fight over the Kit Kats. All right?
No, don't fight. Don't fight over the Kit Kat, and it hasn't stopped raining since we left, so that's exciting.
Well, you guys be safe, and I'll catch up with you guys when you make it back. But have a safe trip, and thanks for taking time out here on OTH, Alyssa.
Anytime, Pat. Thanks.
That was the Pig Trail Nation and KNWA's Alyssa Orange giving us her 411 on just what she thinks of this upcoming ball game tomorrow night, Arkansas versus number one ranked Crimson Tide, and then last night's exhibition matchup with a very good and sound Mike Neighbors coached women's basketball team as they were able to prevail 97-63. But we're going to continue on because we got to talk more Razorbacks. I mean, that's what you guys want, and we're on the hill, so we got to give it to you. Next up is Hogville.net's Otis Kirk. We're going to talk a little recruiting, little Hogs, and then you know what we always do. It's going to be Pat, Demetrius, and Otis picking the SEC games of the week, and I'm going to try to at least have a winning record this week. It's been real tough for me, but all that's coming up. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
You're a young guy, so you got some more years left. Well, first, how important is it that you guys, have a strong finish to this season, maybe get an SEC 1 or 2, and take care of business down the stretch here?
Yeah, we always trying to take care of business. I mean, we ain't gonna just lay down. I mean, we're gonna give it each game our all, and we're gonna prepare each and every week.
That's what a game, and Hicks got asked this on Saturday. They're confident Arkansas can, because Arkansas's had some really good teams in the past. Are you guys confident that you can get Arkansas back to be on an upper level SEC team? And if so, what do you think that's going to take?
It's going to take everybody to buy in. I mean, we always preparing to be great. I mean, we not listen to the outside media, so outside noise. We just preparing.
Welcome back. It's our Friday edition. It's our A edition of OTH here on KDSJ 479. We come to you each and every week, Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. And, each and every week we catch up with our good buddy to talk Razorback football, Otis Kirk of Hogville.net. Otis, I know you're a little under the weather today, my man, but welcome to OTH.
Oh, hey, man. Yeah, thank you. Maybe I won't completely cough go crazy while I'm on here.
Otis, let's talk a little bit. Arkansas coming off a very disappointing, lopsided home loss to the Auburn Tigers last Saturday in Donald W. Reynolds. We've been around this team all week, Otis. What's been your summation of just the pulse and attitude heading into this game versus the number one ranked Crimson Tide?
Man, I mean, it's just a situation. It's just a situation where Arkansas playing, two of the top teams in the country, and this week will be the top teams in the country. And you're just going on the road, and you just go down there and give it your best shot. There's not much expected of you, and I mean, no one's giving you a chance, and you just go down and give it your best shot, and whatever happens, happens. But you want to regroup because you've got some games coming up in November that are very winnable if you play good ball. And I think that might be the biggest thing, Pat, has come out of this game with some kind of confidence. I mean, that, to take you into that November stretch, because you've got 2 home games coming up in a row, and both of them are winnable. Right. But you got to play, they got to play better to win them and get over that hump and finally win a game, and especially an SEC game. And so I think it's just come out of this game with some confidence is what I would say.
When you look at it, Otis, you also we were down on the field last weekend as the waning moments winded down, and you heard just throughout the entire stadium, and especially in the areas that we have the vantage point to have real good sound, the KJ Jefferson chants began.
Yeah.
When do you, Otis, is it after this ball game that you go in, if you're Chad and that staff, and you got those 4 games, you start playing some of these freshmen that you had planned on redshirt just to get that 4 games of film? I mean, it's next week when it starts.
Yeah, I don't waste these guys against Alabama because I'm telling you, Tom Brady could be the quarterback tomorrow, and the chances are they're not going to win. So no, but the last thing you want to do right now is take somebody who's played none and play the next 5 games and waste an entire year with them. So get through the Alabama game, and then you regroup, go into November with KJ, Amante Spivey, Hudson Henry, Jalen, some of these guys that haven't played yet, but and get them some action in those games. I mean, I'm not saying you start KJ, but I mean you can start him, you can play him, you can put in packages for him. But I mean, I do this, and then same way with Hudson and Spivey and some other guys, and but they're going to try to win those games. But I think you definitely look at KJ and. I mean, it's not like the 2 the 1 senior quarterback and the 1 junior is exactly lighting it up consistently. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you look at, John Stevenson and KJ? I think you definitely get them in there, especially KJ, because I think he's got a bright future, and I'd like to see what he can do and give him a chance. He's set this year, and but I don't play him this weekend. Man, I've heard people say, well, you play him against Alabama, and then you don't play him against LSU. So you put KJ in this weekend. What if he plays really well, and then leads you to 2 victories against Western Kentucky and Mississippi State, and then you set him against LSU? I mean, that'd be a slap in his face. So no, I don't do that. I mean, so no, I hold those kids 1 more week, and then it's like green light after that.
Talking with Otis Kirk here on Hove.net for those that have just tuned in to us here on the A segment of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. Real quick, Otis, I know your expertise and what you're the best in the business at is that recruiting. Talk about Arkansas recruiting-wise. I know they got a couple of guys coming in next weekend that could really be difference makers. You lose a couple of commitments here over the last few weeks, but this staff still has had the ability to get some of the nation's elite to set up a couple of visits. Who are the 3 guys that will be making their way to Fayetteville, and what will those 2 big weekends, Mississippi State and Western Kentucky, look like as far as recruiting goes for Coach Mo and that staff?
Yeah. Aaron Moore's added to visit next weekend to Arkansas. That's a big linebacker from over in Murfreesboro, Oakland High School in Tennessee, down the same town as Trey Knox is from. You've got Aaron Moore coming in. You got Mike Harris, of course, obviously from the same school as Amante. And then you've got Brady Ward, an offensive lineman from Mobile, St. Paul Episcopal, coming in next weekend. These are 3 official visits that I know about right now. And then Donovan Johnson, obviously, from Louisiana, is slated to be he's committed to Virginia. He's a safety. He's slated to be at the Western Kentucky game. So, no, I think it's a chance for, to get some kids on campus. You got homecoming coming up from Mississippi State. Yeah. And so, I think recruiting is, they're struggling some, but they're also still in the ball game. Just got to close well, Pat.
Well, you know what time it is now, Otis. We're going to let our producer, Demetrius, get everything fired up. And, I'm going to try to win it this week, Otis. I mean, it's been real bad for me. Some of the games that I pencil in as gimmies, they just hadn't panned out that way. I mean, I don't know what's going on, but we'll wait. When Demetrius gives me the okay, we'll fire it up. About ready? Let's get it. The first game on the schedule, we're going to go the Kentucky Wildcats will be taking on the Missouri Tigers. Where you at, Otis?
I'll let Missouri burn me one more week. They're away from home. They're at Kentucky, which they haven't won yet. I'm going to stick with Missouri one more week, see what happens.
All right. Demetrius?
I'm going to go Missouri.
I'm going to go Kentucky. The two losses Missouri have been away from their place. They're at Lexington. I think, one of those games where they're just going to have a bad day, and I'm going to go with Kentucky in that one. Next ball game we got up. Tennessee will be taking on the South Carolina Gamecocks. Otis?
I'll go with South Carolina. I think they've played a little bit better football in recent weeks. Well, they've obviously played a lot better football in recent weeks. And I'll go with them this time, although I think it's in Knoxville, so it could be a tough game.
Demetrius?
We'll go Tennessee.
Oh, you're going to be the stranger in the bunch. I'm taking the South Carolina defensive line. I think really good, and I just think they're going to be playing with a little bit more momentum. So we'll take South Carolina in this one. Next ball game, Texas A&M takes on the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Otis?
I'll go with the Aggies.
Demetrius?
I said Mississippi State who?
A&M.
Oh, A&M. I think outmatch.
I'm going to go with A&M because I think next week Chad and the Arkansas Razorbacks get off the snide, and I think that's going to be their very first SEC win after 16 consecutive losses. So I'm going to take A&M in that ball game. Next up, the big one, and I mean the big one, LSU and the Auburn Tigers down in Baton Rouge. Otis?
First time this year I picked against Auburn. I'm going with LSU. It's the very first time I picked against the Tigers.
Demetrius?
I'm going LSU, baby.
I'm just going to say one word. O says it a lot. Go Tigers. We'll take LSU in that one. And lastly, the Arkansas Razorbacks take on the number one ranked team in all of college football in Bryant-Denny Stadium at 6 p.m., the SEC Network. Arkansas versus Alabama. Otis, first, your offensive player, defensive player, and your final score.
Yeah, offensive player, I'll go with Cheyenne. Defensive player, I'll go with Scooter. And final score, I'll go with Alabama. 45, Arkansas 14.
Demetrius?
I'm gonna go Alabama 56-7.
Whoa. Offensive player? Defensive player?
Offensive player, I'm gonna go Rakeem Boyd. And defensive player, Scooter Harris.
All right. Well, I'm going to go offensive player, Cheyenne O'Grady. My defensive player, I'm going to go Joe Fouché. I'm going to go with Joe Fouché with the final score being the Alabama Crimson Tide 38, the Arkansas Razorbacks 14 final score. I just think it'll be one of those games. Real rainy weather, won't be a lot of points scored, but Alabama will do just enough. But, Otis, I want to thank you for taking time out here. I know you're a little bit under the weather, my man, but you take care of yourself. And like I said, thanks for taking time out here on the A.
Thanks for asking me, Pat. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you.
All right. That was Otis Kirk of Hogville.net, and I believe that's going to wrap up today's edition of the A. I also want to make a note for those that want to tune in. We'll be doing the play-by-play broadcast tonight on Red Dirt Radio 106.1 of the Fayetteville Bulldogs as they travel to Springdale Gerald Williams Bulldog Stadium in the Battle of the Bulldogs as they take on the Springdale Bulldogs. Pre-game show airs at 6:30 p.m. with the kickoff set for 7. Want to give a shout-out to all of our guests, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama, also, to Scotty Borderland of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, Alyssa Orange of the Pick Trail Nation and KNWA, and our good buddy each and every week, Otis Kirk of Hogville.net. For my good producer, Demetrius Johnson, and myself, that's going to wrap up today's show. Want to give a big shout-out before we get out of here to Lindsay & Associates with an office location in Fayetteville and also too in Rogers. Locomotion, located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. Corey Beck's Custom Painting, any residential, commercial, anything. Contact Corey Beck and you won't be disappointed. And lastly, KDK's Chicken. It's located at 989 Razorback Road. Go see Keith and Kathy. Get you that plate of that love. And like they say, it's not your mama's. The best chicken and waffles in the South. But that's going to wrap it up. We're going to get out of here, and we hope you have a blessed weekend. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. You guys have a blessed one, and let's get it.